The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I am Diego Castro. President Bongbong Marcos is set to meet with key Japanese officials on the first full day of his 5-working trip in Japan. To give us more details, we have Mon Gualvez reporting live from Tokyo. Mon, what are we expecting from the president's trip to Tokyo?
Diego, President Bongbong Marcos' 5-day working visit here in Japan will be centered on strengthening ties for agriculture, renewable energy, digital transformation, defense, and infrastructure. Upon arriving in Japan yesterday, President Bongbong Marcos kicked off his trip with a dinner meeting with executives of Mitsui & Company Incorporated and Metro Pacific Investments Corporation or MPIC. During the dinner meeting, the president was able to discuss strengthening collaborations between the Philippine government and Japanese companies to help boost the Philippine company. CEO Kenichi Hori headed the delegation of Mitsui, which is engaged in product sales, logistics and financing, infrastructure projects, iron and steel products, and information and communications technology. While Manny V. Pangilinan, who's also TV5 and Signal Chair, headed the team from MPIC, which is involved in investments on infrastructure in the Philippines. PBBM was also joined by First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, former President Gloria Arroyo, Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez. This morning, the president is slated to hold a few closed-door meetings with his delegation and Japanese counterparts. While this afternoon, he, along with the First Lady, will be paying a courtesy visit to Emperor Naruhito and Empress Masako, which will be followed by a documents exchange ceremony in the Prime Minister's office before evening. The president earlier said at the meeting last night that he is optimistic that his trip in Japan would be a fruitful one.
And we look forward to the discussions that we will be having here for the next few days, as we have great hopes that this will be a driver in the transformation of our economy.
Diego, this Sunday, the president is expected to meet up with the Filipino community here in Japan before heading back to the Philippines. Diego.
Thank you for those updates, Mon Gualvez. The Philippine government has deported the 2 remaining Japanese fugitives involved in robberies in Japan. They are Tomonobu Saito and Yuki Watanabe, also known as Luffy, who was identified as the ringleader of the group. This came after the dismissal of the violence against women and children charges filed against them. 2 other Japanese fugitives, Kyoto Imamura and Toshiya Fujita, were earlier deported to Japan. They were allegedly orchestrating telephone scams and robberies while detained in the Philippines. President Bongbong Marcos says that the deportation of Japanese fugitives ahead of his visit to Japan was a mere coincidence. Marcos Jr. explained that the Japanese government had requested the deportation even before the trip was planned. He added that the government followed the same criteria for extradition in deporting the Japanese fugitives. In other news, Department of Migrant Workers has halted the deployment of first-time domestic helpers to Kuwait. Meanwhile, the recruitment agency of slain OFW Julie Ranara received a tongue lashing from senators over their ineffective monitoring of her condition in Kuwait, where she was brutally killed by her employer's son. Mian Los Baños with the full story.
Inutil yung monitoring nyo. Your monitoring system works. You're saying every day you check, you monitor. A day before she died, ganito yung situation. If you don't have the heart for the OFWs, ganito lagi mangyayari, araw-araw ganito mangyayari, taon-taon ganito nangyayari, sawan-sawa na kami mag-hearing dito.
Senators slashed out at the local recruiter of Julie B. Ranara, the slain OFW in Kuwait, for supposedly being remiss in checking on her. However, Catalyst International Manpower Services insists that they have enough monitoring mechanism, but Ranara did not report the abuses she was experiencing.
Wala naman po siyang traces na sinaktan siya or merong hostile working environment. And as a matter of fact, tine-check din po namin yung mga TikTok, yung mga Facebook.
During the hearing, Attorney Castillon also said that Ranara was allegedly pregnant and was in a romantic relationship with the son of her employer, the suspect in her killing.
What proof do you have
It was
para sabihin na there's a relationship? Kasi pangit ito, nagsasalita ka, patay na yung tao eh. She can no longer defend herself.
yes, Mr. Chair.
Give me proof.
But based on the autopsy report from Kuwait, OWA said Ranara was not pregnant. Senators moved to delete the said claims of Castillon and the lawyer apologized. The Department of Migrant Workers already canceled the license of Catalyst International Manpower, while senators ordered the DMW not to grant the agency any license from here on. The DMW was also not spared from the hearing after Senator Raffy Tulfo expressed his dismay towards Secretary Toots Ople for not implementing a total deployment ban to Kuwait. The DMW said that before Secretary Ople flew to Japan, she ordered the implementation of a targeted deployment ban for first-time domestic helpers in Kuwait.
Targeted ban po. So by that, we mean, yun pong ban na i-impose ay para po sa mga household workers bound for Kuwait na mga new hires po. In the immediate, ito yung ating iban muna.
OWA is also pushing for significant reforms that will be tackled in the upcoming bilateral talks with Kuwait, while contracts of first-time OFWs are deferred. Reporting for News 5, Mean Los Baños, we are One News.
We will be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News now. I'm Diego Castro. The government has deployed a humanitarian response team to Turkey following a magnitude 7.8 earthquake. The team consists of over 80 members, including personnel from the Armed Forces and Health Department. AFP officials and Turkish Ambassador Niyazi Evren were present during the send-off ceremony at the airport.
They're all trained in search and rescue operations. Marunong sila sa mga collapse structures search and rescue. They have the training and equipment to do these special tasks.
The team will bring around 16 tons of medicine and medical equipment to Filipinos and others affected by the tremor. According to Reuters, combined reported death toll in Turkey and neighboring Syria has climbed past 12,000.
May kaba po pero at the same time very honored po.
Ilang araw or weeks ang tatagal nito?
We cannot say yet po pero parang at least 2 weeks or almost 2 weeks po yung allotted.
Philvolk says the next devastating earthquake, or the big one, may strike in the year 2058. This is based on Philvolk's study of the West Valley Fault. The agency says the last devastating quake to hit the Philippines happened in 1658 and may possibly reoccur every 400 years. When asked if structures in the capital region would be able to withstand a major quake, Philvolk said it would depend if the construction is up to par with the implemented building code. Philvolk also emphasized the importance of monitoring activities in the West Valley Fault for any indications that a big one may be coming.
May mga cases na meron munang mga malalaking mga foreshock activity para indicator ito na paparating na yung big one. Meron ding moment na walang lindol and then suddenly magsa-spike siya to the point na maganda ng indicator ito na malapit na yung malaking lindol.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us again at 9:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register an account now at signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Diego Castro. We are One News. All sides, all the time.